Good morning, every EMC family. Welcome to another Docile Saturday. We're going to do a little extended meditation this morning because there's so much to cover and there's a beautiful location that I know you will enjoy, and we kind of have to time our arrival. So that's something to look forward to. But first, we will start with our serenity prayer. God, Grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Your will, not mine, be done. Amen. I know I just told Nick that I would give you a couple more minutes of peace and quiet, but the morning sunrise is just so spectacular, as even though we have clouds that look a little rain in them, but the sunlight behind them makes the cloud formations look so beautiful that I thought I just had to share how my feelings were on this beautiful Saturday morning. So peace and quiet for a couple more minutes, and then you'll hear my lovely voice. Morning, ladies. So good morning, EMC family. Welcome to another Docile Saturday. It's not a beautiful sunrise, and I'm sure that you can hear with the passing Zadar in the background and everything, and next preamble that we are in beautiful Bridgetown and taking in this beautiful view of the Constitution River as it comes down and joins the Corinage. And over the last, I would say, 5 to 6 years, the government has dredged and rechanneled this whole area. A lot of us know it when it was dark and murky and all kind of nastiness is in it. But the true fact is that this has always been the channel for the water that comes out of the hills of St. George this way. And I know we talk about the St. George Valley, but I want us to be thinking that 𝗃𝗃𝗃 goes up, you know, up into 𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃, 2 Mile Hill, and all these are hills, so water has to come down. Even though it's a small steady gradient of a hill, it's still a hill nonetheless. And so mainly the water from St. George and St. Joseph comes down through the valleys, comes all the way to what we call the Globe Runabout, and that whole area has been dredged and made a bigger canal now, as we can see it here, so that this water comes so beautifully down into Bridgetown and into the Corinage. And it is peaceful here this morning, despite all the morning traffic and the beginning of a dawn of a new day. It is just amazing. So the first thing I want to do is a 360 of love from this location. Wow, isn't that beautiful? And so I'll pan first to the bus stand. A lot of us know the bus stand as just an open lot with the buses on it, and it was before my time, but I have seen pictures of it with the bus stand, just open lot buses. And so we built up the whole area. It used to be called the Fairchild Street bus stand because the road that is on is Fairchild Street. Now in the last couple of years, the government has renamed it the Granville-Williams Bus Terminal. And if everybody who knows who Granville-Williams was, he was a preacher. He had a church in Christchurch. It's skipping me at this moment, but a Baptist preacher, and he was a Granville. If you went to his church in Christchurch, you had an experience. And so they thought to name this after him. I believe too at crop over time down the Spring Garden Highway, he had a food village, and those ladies could cook up a storm. The best food came from that location on Spring Garden. So they thought that they would name this after him, which is a lovely tribute to the gentleman who also made his mark on Barbadian culture. And as we span to this iconic view of the careenage with the Pierhead and the bridge, the swing bridge, Indian Bridge in the background. See, I'm competing against the trucks and all that this morning, if you can hear them. And the amount of boats that are in the inner basin of the careenage this morning. So Mary is having a wonderful time looking at all these boats. But as you can hear, Bridgetown is waking up. It's just amazing. Also, the old Treasury building, which government has decided that they would, yes, it was called Cuckoo Village. Thank you so much. And so, yes, that food was fantastic, wasn't it? I remember that food. So I'm here looking at the Treasury building, the old Treasury building. Of course, we now don't have a Treasury department. It's now called 𝗵𝗽𝗽𝗆 because the government incorporated all areas of finance. A lot of different government departments would do their own collections. They have consolidated and make sure that it happens in one location. And so we have 𝗵𝗽𝗆, Barbados Revenue Authority. And so the old Treasury building is no longer in use. When I started my career, I started in the Auditor General's department as a revenue clerk dealing with revenue departments, and I would be on the top floor of this building, and the view on mornings was fantastic. And as we all know, government workers work really hard, so at the end of the month, every end of the month, what would happen was somebody would call a bomb scare. And in those days, the police, the bomb squad was at Central Police Station, and so they would come over. But there were no cell phones, you know, it was a call and you had to wait. So therefore the entire building had to be evacuated, and there was no way to let you know. There's no WhatsApping, nothing like that to let you know is it all clear. So people used to take that time to go and do their grocery shopping, get their hair done, pay bills, all sorts of things. And it was a standard thing now, anywhere between the 24th and the 26th of the month when it's payday, they would have a bomb scare. Or around the time if income tax refunds were to happen and you haven't got your income tax refund, somebody will call in a bomb scare. So after a while, they just stopped telling staff because they realized it was a 3-hour siesta at the end of the month so people could pay their bills. So that came to an end. So now, sadly, this building is no longer in use. I think the government has earmarked it for apartments, and it's going to be renovated and put in 1- and 2-bedroom apartments, and I really hope that happens because it's a beautiful building. They will have to remove the asbestos because I know this building, just like the NIS building, both have asbestos roof and asbestos areas, so that they would have to remove and then proceed to renovate it. The bridge that we are on is called the Charles Duncan O'Neill Bridge. And Charles Duncan O'Neill was born on November 30th, 1879. So does that date sound a little familiar to all of us?
Sounds like your age.
Good morning, Nicholas Dean. So he founded the Democratic League in 1924. And O'Neill went to Harrison College And then in 1899, he went and studied medicine at the University of Edinburgh and graduated in 1904. In 1998, he was named one of the national heroes. And as we all know, with our currency, he's on the $10 bill. But also, he was the uncle of Errol Wharton Barrow. And Charles Duncan O'Neill was a visionary of what he thought Barbados could be, and as well as moving the country forward and giving our people stability and the right to do certain things. So I think that young Errol, you know, at his knee, whatever he didn't accomplish in his lifetime, Errol picked it up and continued on. And, you know, sometimes that's the biggest tribute. But this beautiful bridge is in his honor as a gateway for all of us. So now we're gonna take you to a, oh my goodness, look up. Hold on a minute, guys. Look at that. I have a lovely rainbow. Wow, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. Look at that rainbow. I think if I raise my hand a little higher, you will be able to see it. Isn't that beautiful? Yes. Yes. It's almost like the ancestors of all of them are clapping and saying, yes, yes, you remember me. Yes, I do. So isn't that beautiful? So we're going to keep walking in this direction this morning. And the thing about Bridgetown, all of this area, as you know, is part of the UNESCO Heritage Site because the original footprint of the roads are still the same as it was built many years ago. This building that we are kind of passing under has changed. A lot of us will remember it as the supermarket. It was Super Center at one stage, and then Trimart took it over, and there was a supermarket here. Now it has been turned into a mall. And a lot of these buildings, you know, it's been renovated and upgraded, but hasn't changed that much. And I remember as a child, all along here, they used to be hawkers. They put up the handrail on the side here, but I know a lot of us remember no handrail here. The handrail is a new feature. So we're taking you in a south direction because the thing about the heritage site, the UNESCO heritage area, we have done the other direction, which is going up to the historic garrison, onto St. Matthias. All of that is part of it, but it also stretches in the other direction as well, taking in St. Michael's Cathedral and Queen's Park. So we're gonna do some of that for you this morning. This building now, this pink building, now called the Imperial Plaza, we will all remember it as Annie Wilson. And Annie Wilson was a black business owner that was in the 70s, 60s, 70s, 80s. And the downstairs part, which is now mall, I remember having two main doors and you were going, and my mother always used to say, every piece of clock got an owner, because there was pieces of material and there I would say, Mommy, who would buy this? She said, somebody can walk in and like that. You may not like it, but you gotta remember that every piece of clock got an owner. So I remember that, and he would be, as you walk in, he'd be sitting back in the wall so that he could see everything that was going on in the store, and then, you know, you come forward and pay and that. But of course, when he passed, like most businesses, black businesses, which is sad, is that sometimes we do not think of a succession plan. Who's going to take over? And so with that, when he passed, the business passed as well. This building on the corner, I'm sure a lot of you remember as Pilgrim Shoe Place for many years. Mr. Pilgrim was the son of Dame Elsie Payne, who was one of the headmistresses at Queen's College. And the bottom part, where is now a fish and meat shop, that's where Pilgrim Shoe Store was. The other two floors were more for his storage and all of that. But you can see from the age of these buildings, and that window on the window on the second and the third floor with the jalousies in it, the age of the building. And this building on this corner, I will try and find those pictures and post for you. You will see pictures of this rainbow is really amazing. Sorry, I just caught my breath because I can see one end and see the other end, but the middle is missing. But the rainbow is amazing. But these buildings were here when Queen Elizabeth's father was coronated, and prior to that too, when his father, there are pictures of coronation day of the kings, and this whole area is lined with flags from life to life. Of course, the Treasury building is a relatively new building, built most probably in the 60s or 50s, because pictures show that this area had one stage it was housing, and then it was a foundry and a hardware store with materials and all that sort of stuff. And then, of course, as you know, Bridgetown has been a town full of fires. So every time the fire happened, then it would change the footprint of whatever was there before. But, you know, the walls and all of that, the roads remain the same. So we're gonna head up this way, and we're going up St. Michael's Road. And St. Michael's Road for us is an iconic road because every time we have lost a leader in the country, whether it be a prime minister or a governor general or any statesman of the country, St. Michael's Road you will see being used in those funeral procession parades, because invariably they're going either to St. Michael's, to the St. Michael's and the All Ages Cathedral. I will be wicked and share with you. This building has been here maybe since the 1600s. It's now gone under a serious renovation. But if you hear Bajans talk about SAS, this is SAS, and SAS has everything reasonably priced. Bajans are in here like short block. It's like, it is the equivalent to whatever Miss Ram used to be in the day, in the 60s and the 70s. SAS is now that. Yeah. So this whole area, vendors, when later on you will see vendors come out, you know, be selling their produce, and it's still as active as it was. I believe that somewhere along here, if I pan, I'm gonna turn in that direction because we will remember Raleigh Cycle Center, but somewhere along here I think Dougie's used to be, and that was a popular ice cream place. I would not know that because my parents courted there and had ice cream and hamburgers and whatever else, but I was still up in heaven drinking milk and honey. But I believe that Dougie's was in this building that I'm showing you, the pink building. Yes. Somebody said something before SAS, so if you be kind to post that again. So this street that we're walking up is called Spice Street, and Spice Street now has a little supermarket called Popular, and it's really reasonable. Food prices are really good in Popular. They have 3 outlets, which is here in Spice Street. One is on the highway heading to the airport, and one is on Spooner's Hill. But they have broken it down in 3 locations. So on early Saturday morning, all the persons who are weekly paid workers would come down here because this is the best way that they can stretch their dollar. Yes, this building that we're coming up to used to hold the old Harriet's Enterprises by the Harrison family. They were synonymous with motorsports, and you could come to Harriet's Enterprises and get beautiful carpets and tiles and all sorts of lovely things like that. This building right here, sadly now they have all passed. And again, another, you know, iconic black business that has closed. We really have to look at our succession plan and keeping everything open. But lovely Popular is also Barbadian owned, and therefore they are in that spot. So now, this interesting building here in the pink, for all those persons who are Harrison College alumni, this building was the first home of Harrison College, and it was started by a man called Mr. Harrison. Of course, it makes more sense, right? Thomas Harrison was his name, and he started the building in he started the school in 1745 with 24 boys. And as the school grew, he moved out in the 1870s and moved to the present site of where we know Harrison College now is on Crompton Street. But the Masonic Lodge took over this building, and they held their meetings in this building up to 1905. Sorry if I got that right. Maybe a little later than that. And because once they yes, it was more like more like 1995. I'm happy this morning. Not enough coffee. So the Masonic Lodge have been in this building. Different lodges would meet from 1870 to 1995, and then they too outgrew the use of this building, and they have moved their location to St. George, just there in Charles Road Bridge. They have this beautiful white building that is the Masonic Lodge. All the lodges came together, and those are the ones that are Scottish and English lodges that came together and built that building in St. George. But this location was the Masonic Lodge, and then the Central Bank bought it over, and what they did was turn it into an interactive museum so that it showcases the Masonic Lodge, a bit of Harrison College and how that looked, and as well as talking about the financials of Barbados, what we did for money, how banking was done and everything, and to show you that it was a large building. These iconic symbols here in the blue columns with the balls on top, that is a large symbol. Don't ask me all those details, but that is a large symbol, and so that tells you that it was a large. The glass section of it is something that has been built on, because the original building is as you see it, with the doors, the windows, the pink size. The glass part has been put on afterwards. And I'm now gonna turn to you. There's so much going on in this corner this morning. We are at what we call the Central Bank. This was the vision of Tom Adams, our second Prime Minister, and this was built in 1982. It was, of course, appropriately renamed the Tom Adams Financial Center, but it was our Central Bank. And I remember when this was going up, they started with just the columns. You just saw these big round cylinder columns, and it did not make sense to anybody. Like, what kind of building is that? Because like all of us Bajans, we know you start the ground still and you dig out the foundation and you come up. But this was just all these columns in the on either side as you see them, and then the floors were then put in. But the beautiful Central Bank also has a lovely grand salle and lovely theater seating 400. And if you're ever here in March before, there used to be Broadway to Barbados, and those shows were fantastic. I remember attending every single one because the musicals, the numbers, the audience was fantastic. And as well, there is a small art gallery where different displays are done. But slowly but surely, the Central Bank has taken this whole area and revitalize it with benches and make it more beautiful that they can sit in for your staff or even for all of those who come as well. So I have done a lot of talking, so let me just step out a little bit further. And good morning, everybody. Yes, I'm here. I hope you've been enjoying it so far. I didn't come alone. I brought Mary is here with me.
I kept bobbing in front of the camera.
That's all right.
Was doing like,
I know, and I was doing like directing traffic, like shift.
But I wasn't doing it deliberately like Nick. That was the only difference.
I know, Nick has been very quiet this morning. Jeanette, as usual, has him under control. And our lovely Cheryl is here. Busy taking pictures because there is so much to see and do. Yes, it's a lovely interactive museum here. And you have to, if you get a chance, come down and see, you know, what's happening here. And then I'm going to take you around because the Central Bank grounds are just so amazing and it's so beautiful. You must understand that like any other country, we have our city life. And so you will see others resting because sadly they have nowhere else to go. So I'm trying to respect that privacy too. So good morning, lovebirds.
Good morning.
Yes, I'm kind of finally letting everybody see that we are all present. So
all
you
present.
know who needs camera time.
Hello.
To hog. You understand? He complains about me during the week, but it's not me. It's
yeah,
him.
but everybody's saying what they complained about happening this morning. See, you're hogging the camera. You don't even want me in it.
Look, I'm sharing it with you. Look.
But the only way I can get in it is if you're in it. You never put the camera on me anymore. I don't know what's going on. What boss get? What? Got on a shirt. Hey.
Yes.
I'm respectful, you know.
Yes, he's making sure that he is properly attired.
And there's that one over there.
And sorry guys. And there's Miss J as well. Morning. Don't duck, too late. I got you. I have to put you in the frame before I think. Yes. So like I said, Bridgetown, this part is still part of the old UNESCO site. This is part of the Central Bank. And it's really beautiful. I'm going to take you a walk through of a bit of the Central Bank, what we can access. But this area is a lovely area to just come and sit down and just relax. You know, before this would have been urban dead space, and it's a wonderful way that they have cultivated it. They also have taken an area where, you know, sadly, like how persons got moved from Emerton to create the water sewage plant. The same thing happened here in Green Village, and they've taken another area where families and housing was moved, low income housing, and what they did was turn it into another green space, another park. And it's lovely to kind of have these oases. I suppose they created them for their staff, but for those who come to Barbados on vacation, it's a wonderful way to see Bridgetown, walk through Bridgetown, and then have all these lovely little parks within Bridgetown instead of walking all the way to Queen's Park, which was the only space. So I will take you across and let you see a bit of this park. And at Christmas time, they have a lovely amphitheater, and they do concerts, and they have, you know, Christmas plays and different things like that. And sadly, part of the Bajan landscape sometimes is to deface and destroy. So what they've done is put security all in this place, but they've taken all these beautiful old jalousie doors and made them part of the landscape. And it's really a beautiful little oasis right here in Bridgetown. Over there, as you can see, is the amphitheater. And of course, whatever trees were in the area, they made sure that they maintained those trees. So if the trees look like they have some age, yes, they do, because what they did was work around what was here and then put in whatever infrastructure they had. But this is a beautiful area. And of course, yeah, as I said, persons who has some life challenges are sleeping in these areas, but as long as they're respectful to the area, security will make sure that everything is kept beautifully. And this is the amphitheater where they have Christmas concerts and different shows, and it's just a lovely, lovely, you know, taking a green space within all this urbanness. Let me step back. And there's the beautiful St. Michael's Cathedral in the background. And Nicholas, sorry.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
And look at that, huh? Okay, hold on. I think that's it. No, it's not. Sorry guys, we're doing a little technical transaction. Yes. Isn't that just beautiful? Sunrise is now fully up and it is just amazing. Yes. Yeah, I agree. These green spaces are really needed. And hopefully Bajans will get to understand that we could eat lunch outdoors and not sit down in the lunchroom and gossip. That we could come out and, you know, our mental health. Stop, take a break, sit down among all this greenery. Even if you have to walk with your favorite cushion. I know at my workplace we have picnic benches outside, and every time I need to decompress during the day, when you feel like the calls won't stop and the meetings won't stop, I walk with a cushion in my car, take out the cushion, go and sit down underneath the trees, have lunch, and just relax and decompress, and then go back in an hour, because we need to stop sitting, looking at the computer screens. These spaces are needed. So isn't that a beautiful view of the central bank? Look at that. Sorry, you see, when you know something as one name, you keep calling it that one name. But of course, it's the Tom Adams Financial Center. And that is so beautiful. You missing the Falcons? Maybe they know that this is not the area for them to be with, because they will end up as a meal. So maybe that's why we're not hearing any Falcons this morning. You lost me, Mary. Mary has been trying to keep up with me, but sometimes I'm moving faster than warp speed. When they look around, I'm gone again. So the beautiful 𝗵𝗽𝗆𝗄𝗯𝗃 Hall. And as you know, 𝗵𝗽𝗆𝗄𝗯𝗃 was a teacher at commandery, very big in the arts in the country, and inspired so many people. 𝗵𝗽𝗽𝗆𝗄𝗃 was one of them, and he was really a visionary in terms of what our arts could be. And he wrote a lot of lovely books as well, so therefore they named this after him, the 𝗵𝗽𝗆𝗄𝗯𝗃 Hall, and shows that the 𝗵𝗽𝗆𝗄𝗯𝗃 Hall are classy. So if you ever are here and they're doing a show, you must come in. I'm trying to get a time frame of what time we're at.
7:12.
Oh, 7:12, okay. Yeah, I need a couple more minutes before I take them into our beautiful special surprise this morning. But I also want to show you a little street that is still where it is. And it meant a lot, you know. I think as we grow and we can do so much in our lives, it is important to remember that there are tons of ancestors and loved ones who came before us who could not do everything that they wanted to do. They were restricted by the rules of the time, and therefore could only live and enjoy what was allowed to them. So as we walk straight ahead to this building in front of me, it was downstairs part used to be a travel agency, belonged to Jeannette Graves, and I think it was called Gem Travel, and sadly again that business is no more. The sign is still up, which is, you know, a beautiful testament to that lady. She is still alive, and one of those pioneers of Barbados. But the road right next to it is called Amen's Alley. And Amen's Alley is where the slaves could stand to listen to the service at St. Michael's Cathedral. They weren't allowed to come in and sit in the church at all. They had to stand in this alley. And because when the prayers and everything were said, all they could most probably make out was amen. That's what they used to say at different times in the interval of the service. Amen. And that's how it got its name, Amen's Alley. And it looks like nothing. You would walk past it and not think about it. But I think of all those souls who wanted a better life or just the opportunity to do more. And they stood here and praised and reverenced the God that they could not go into the church and be part of. Thankfully, the Emancipation Proclamation in 1840 and the arrival of William Hart Coleridge, the first Bishop of Barbados, changed all of that. And he was very instrumental. He was there when the Emancipation Proclamation was read, which is on Coleridge Street, and that's why that is called Coleridge Street. That's where the law courts are, district, the Central Police Station, where the Carnegie Library is, where the fountain is, and that street is called Coleridge Street because the area where is now All-Car Park, that adjacent to the Jewish synagogue, there was a house there, and that is where the governor of the day, as well as Bishop Coleridge, read the Emancipation Proclamation. And what the first thing that Bishop Coleridge did was allow all slaves to have the 7 sacraments of the Anglican faith so that they could come into church, be baptized, get married, their children could be christened, they could take communion. And so from this little alley here, they eventually was able to get into the church. So it is so lovely to see you all on this morning. I am trying to kill time because I have been given a promise, and I am hoping that promise will materialize. It will, yes. Just kind of waiting on them to think. The clock is starting to chime, and I think that tells me it's 7:45. Yes? No, 7:15. Happy soul am I. Yes. I got up too early this morning. So I am here now at St. Michael's Cathedral. Yes. What is happening with you this morning?
I don't know what's on your phone this morning. And it's a Samsung. If it was an Apple, I would understand, but
maybe I need to clean up some stuff.
No, I don't think so. I think I actually was catching convicts up there just now.
He was wiping
we had them up. Let me see if I can
Oh, convicts there.
I had convicts up here behind. See? Yes.
You know he's talking about Jeannette and Cheryl. Terrible. So, St. Michael's Cathedral actually didn't start in this location. It started as the Church of St. Michael, the parish church of St. Michael. And that was down in the location of where St. Mary's Church is now. And it was said that that was the 4th building constructed on the island, the church. Makes sense. When that was erected there, it was a small wooden building, and it was built in 1641 in the reign of King Charles I. As we head to a coronation again of another King Charles, it was in King Charles, and it was on the site of where St. Mary's Church was. So in the hurricane of 1780, the church was destroyed and had to be demolished. And in the 1831 hurricane, which we've talked about when we've done other stops along the way in these last couple of weeks, that 1831 hurricane did some major damage, but the church was also not completely destroyed. It has some damage. What we may not know, or some of us may know that, is that Barbados started with 6 parishes, and then eventually we extended and came the 11th had 11 parishes. But St. Michael and St. George was one parish. And the St. Michael Parish Church was the church belonging to those two parishes, those combined parishes as they were at the point in time. So when the original building at St. Mary's was not, it was too small, it was inadequate, another spot was looked for, and this spot was given by the owner, Colonel William Sharp. And so he owned this land at the point in time, and he gave it to the vestry, and they built the cathedral. This new church, which was dedicated on the feast of St. Michael and All Angels in 1665, and it has remained in this location ever since. So in 1825, under King George IV, the first bishop was established, and at that point in time, the parishes of St. Michael and St. George were separated, and this church then became the parish church. And then once we got our first bishop, which was William Hart Coleridge, this became the cathedral. And so this church stands for the parish of St. Michael, just like we have St. George Parish Church, we have St. Thomas, St. Lucy, St. Joseph sadly is completely been decommissioned, and the Anglican Diocese has to look for a new location for St. Joseph, St. Lucy's Parish Church, St. Peter, and you realize that they're all named after saints, all with a colonial theme. This then became the cathedral. They have been doing lots of restoration to it over and over and over, but our treat for you this morning.
Don't have to show anyone, so just break into mission. This is 𝗵𝗽𝗽𝗆 𝗵𝗽𝗽𝗆 in Barbados. That's one of them. Hold on, chat. Look, that's two. There's three complainers.
Yes, I'm so sad, everybody. sorry about that. But so St. Michael's Cathedral then was. This then became the home of the Church of Barbados. Barbados and Jamaica were the first two provinces within the Caribbean that were given churches and became, had cathedrals, and so therefore this is where we got St. Michael's and All Angels. My treat to you this morning is that the church is going to open up and let us go inside. And so those who've been asking to see the inside of the church, I thought this is the perfect one for us to go in. They promised me that they're going to be here dead on at 7:30, because then they open the church and you can come, when you're visiting, come in and walk through the church. And it's beautiful inside. They still have the font of the original first church that was destroyed by the hurricane, and that was on the original site of St. Mary's. They have that font in here. In here also is the final resting place for Sir Grantley Adams, Tom Adams, and Lady Gilbert Carter. You remember her? I talked about her and her creating a Lara Court and the Empire Theatre and Queen's Park. Her final resting place is here as well. Although after her husband passed, he was buried here first, and then she went back to the States. When she died, she asked that her remains be interned here. And this churchyard is amazing. So I'm hoping that they will come shortly so that we could get inside and think. But I also want to show you all around, because here you can see the whole UNESCO and all the plaques are in place. So I'm going to just stop for 2 seconds and read that for you. It says, the Cathedral Church of St. Michael and All Angels. First constructed in 1660, the original building was constructed in brick, not stoned. In 1675, a hurricane destroyed it, and palmetto leaves were used to cover the church. Hurricanes also left their mark on the churches in 1780 and 1831. And in 1825, Bishop Coleridge elevated the status of the church to that of cathedral. Cathedral Church of St. Michael of all ages is a window into the wealth, opulence, and status of the early Bridgetown merchants and their families. So, just as promised, we are walking through the gates. Good morning, my dear. Thank you so much. And so we are in the beautiful St. Michael's and All Angels Cathedral. This is the seat of the Bishop of Barbados. He was installed here. Our current bishop is Bishop Michael Bruce St. John Maxwell, and I know that because he's named after my uncle. They were family friends. Yes. So this is a beautiful, beautiful church, and if you get a chance, you must come and walk through this yard. It is full with tons and tons of graves. There are cobblestone, there are headstones all on the ground, and they have people who have been buried since 1795 here as we walk along this whole area. And you know, it is just amazing, the history, the tons and tons of history that is in here. It would be lovely to see them restore a lot of this, you know, especially the older graves, because of just maybe power washing, could take remove some of the dirt and be able to, so we could be able to see. But it is just tons and tons of history in this churchyard. And so what I'm doing is giving the verger, as we call him, the person responsible for the church, a chance just to open the doors so that we can walk in. But I'm just taking you through the churchyard so you get an idea of all the amount of graves that are in here. Some of them with interesting plaques and crosses, and everywhere we walk, Mary is behind me and she can tell you, everywhere we walk there are also graves under our feet, walkways. And so we turn and look at, sorry Mary, this one here. Hope you can see that. It says, here lieth in rest the body of Mr. William Wales, March, born in Daytron in Lancashire, who departed this life on the 28th of May 1748, aged 38 years old. Tells you what life was like in those days. And that's the other beauty of the graves, that the language. I'm hoping that I can find them. I don't know if this is the, oh no, okay. So I didn't find who I was looking for, but this grave is of the Governor General of Barbados, Sir Hugh Springer. He is one of our national heroes, and he was born on June 22nd, 1913, and died on April 14th, 1994. And his wife, Dorothy Lady Springer. I remember meeting Lady Springer. She was such a wonderful person, sweet, sweet, sweet. And here they lie. And so, like I said to you when we were coming down, we have had that experience. I think I should go back that way. We have had the experience of having lots of dignitaries, you know, being buried here in St. Michael's Cathedral, because it's the cathedral, and therefore if at the time you're having a state funeral, this is where you expect that person to be interred. Of course, 𝗵𝗽𝗆𝗆 was such a Barbadian, such a statesman. He was such a Caribbean man that he was cremated and his ashes lined the Caribbean Sea, and that's what he wanted. He felt that he was not just a Barbadian, he was a Caribbean person. So he wanted everything, his ashes, to be spread across the Caribbean Sea. And that was done. So look at this one here. Sorry, I can see if I can pan to that and let you see that. But look at that. That is a marker of a grave. And they can barely make out. This is like 1710. Yes. So,
huh?
The Brydens?
You went to school with them, huh?
No, I didn't go to school with them. Don't have a clue. Yeah, Brydens is a company, yes. Yeah, all of these are Brydens. I was looking more to see if I could find Tom Adams, who was our second Prime Minister, and Grantley Adams, the first Premier of Barbados, as well as the Federation. And to see also if I can find Lady Gilbert Carter's grave. So they most probably are on the other side. But again, they have also put benches in at different points so that you could see, you know, so you could sit and see, or you can just, you know, walk through, because it is just amazing in here. Ah, yes. So they're on this side. So everybody, thank you for staying on. Know that this might seem a little long this morning, but we wanted you to have the experience. Ah, and there she is. So, yes, they're on this side. So, this is the final resting place of Lady Carter. We're into the blinding sunlight. Darker makers on. But he died first. He was 27 years older than her, and talks about his distinguished career, and that they built a Lara Court, and then she was interned here afterwards. So she died in the United States, but her request was to come back to Barbados. And that's where their final resting places. And then we have our first Premier, Sir Grantley Adams, and his wife, Lady Adams, and they are resting here. And Sir Grantley also was a man ahead of his time, and the way he pulled Barbados forward and make sure that, you know, certain things were done. One of the things that Sir Grantley made sure was that we had the deep water harbor. He was responsible for that implementation, and in fact it was his brainchild. He thought that he could expand the roadways so that there were roads leading from the harbor to the airport, and we now know that as the ABC Highway. So when his son Tom became Prime Minister, he was just completing the work that his father did not get to finish. And so I always think it's wonderful to remember these persons. In life, we don't always get it right. Some things go wrong, but the good we do is what we stand for, what people remember us for. And so here is Tom. And, you know, and Tom, as again, he's lying in the view of the central bank that he was the one to create, because before that, Barbados's financial regulatory things were done through the Eastern Caribbean, and he thought, no, that we should have our own central bank. So that was his vision, as well as completing the work of his father of having the ABC Highway. And this is his final resting place. But as I pan and you look around and you see the amount of graves in here, and I'm sure that if we could take time, if they were all cleaned off and all of that, you would get to see all notable Barbadians who made contributions. And you can see how old and how beautiful St. Michael's and All Angels is. You know, isn't that amazing? Look at that. She is, as they continue, they have a restoration fund. You can get in touch. They have a website so that you can go in and see the history that I shared with you so far, how to contact the church, how to make a contribution, because they are trying to restore this. Because as you understand, this is the seat of the bishop. This is the main church of the country. And therefore, we want it to be restored to its beauty. So this might be a little dark till they open the doors. Huh?
There you go.
Cool. And so, for all of those, I finally am able to complete a promise for you. We are inside a church, and not any church, the Cathedral of Barbados, St. Michael and All Angels. And reverence to the Most High Almighty. I am a trained server and Eucharistic minister, so I know that when I step, I can step. So we're going to take you as high up as we can go. And so we are inside the beautiful church. And I don't even need to say to you guys, based on the artwork and the detail in these pews, how old they are, how long they've been here. I got the honor and pleasure to be present when our current bishop was installed. And these are the choir pews that we're looking at. Look at the detail. This is all mahogany, all the detail work. And this is the plaque behind the choir stall, done in memory of Bishop William Hart Coleridge, our first bishop. And in fact, his home, Bishop Courts Hill, that was called Gibraltar's Rock. And the Anglican Diocese purchased that property and built Bishop Court Hill. And so that's how that property was renamed. And so we're at the high altar. And this is the seat of the bishop. So whenever there's a service and the bishop is present, he sits in this chair. When he was installed, he was here. And right there, I'm going to get as close as I can possibly get. There you can see, I'm going to stay for as long as I can, the bishops who have sat in this chair. And they have the we have Bishop Coleridge, Parry, Mitchinson, Bree, Swaby, Berkeley, Bentley, Hughes, Mandeville, Evans, and then the print gets a little smaller for my young eyes. But they have all of them are here. Gomez, Broom, Holder, and the current bishop, Bishop Michael, is in. And so this chair is called the bishop's. This is the bishop's seat because this is St. Michael's and All Angels Cathedral, and the bishop's stall is at the cathedral. Isn't that beautiful? And this is all Bajan mahogany. Ooh, sorry about that. All right, sorry about that. Camera getting very happy. And up here are these beautiful stained glass windows, all for the cathedral. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. And it's beautiful entirety. And here we have the patron saint of the church of St. Michael and All Angels. And this has been installed here since the 1600s. Because it would have been originally at the smaller church and then moved here. This stained glass window got cracked in one of the hurricanes, and it took them at least 12 years to get it repaired. And once it was installed, it has been maintained. Sadly, this whole area was really in a big state of disrepair, and in the last 5 to 7 years, they have restored it. And look at the beauty of that. It's not just, it's breathtaking. It really is breathtaking. So if you are ever in Bridgetown, they open the cathedral every single day for you to come in, not only to view the cathedral, but to sit in quiet prayer and meditation. Right? And this would then be the priest, because just like you have the bishop's chair, there is the dean of the cathedral, and the dean sits in this chair. And all of this, ladies and gentlemen, is Belgian mahogany. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. So, and again, all through this area, there are tons, and I do mean plaques on the walls representing old plantocracy and persons who would have been wealthy merchants who made contributions to the country, and therefore, they're all on the walls that you can read. The history is here. I'm going to do something. Yes, I can do that because I'm trained to do it. I'm going to take a step further and go up to the high altar so that you guys get a clear view of what the bishop and the dean of the cathedral see on Sunday mornings. And this is from the altar. The altar is right in front of me. So I've come right at the very top. And that's the altar, and that's the view from there. Ooh, this morning, the gimbal is being special. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that, everyone. But that is the view that the bishop and the archdeacon see. Isn't that beautiful? In a quiet silence of remembrance of lost ones. So, I don't know what else to say to you, but yes. Oh, and the floors in this area are all marble and mosaic designs, which are the originals that would have been here, that have been cleaned. The pews are all mahogany. The font, which I talked about earlier, came from St. Mary's Church after it was the location when St. Michael's was still a parish church. That is the original font in 1731 and from 1640, and that has all the inscriptions and markings in it, and the beautiful marble plaques to represent loved ones. The pulpit, which is just beautiful and immaculate, and to Dean Jeffrey Gibson, the church council and the congregation of St. Michael's, and the vergers and admin staff who were so accommodating from yesterday when I came and said, we are AMC, and I would like to do a walkthrough and show our family St. Michael's, and the beauty. So I do implore you to, if you want to donate, go to the church's website, and they have how you can donate. They live stream on Sunday mornings as well, so you can always join them on YouTube too if you want to see how the church, how service is conducted at the church. You can do that. And yeah, it's just the marble underneath my feet, because I keep walking on the remains of persons here, all who died in the 1711 and the 1800s, and it's just so remarkable. And the beautiful, beautiful pipe organ that's still there. So imagine, yes, it has a fantastic sound. Very, very. I mean, I remember being here for Bishop Michael's installation as bishop, and the first hymn that we sang was "The Church is One Foundation." And if you heard persons sing against these hollow walls and the ringing and the voices of thousands of us, all black, all colored, in a house where there is a black bishop. So I know he was not the first, but when you think about the history and where I showed you Amen's Alley was, and the slaves were there, and now we're all inside and being part of and being in charge and taking the church forward, I think sometimes we have to be so respectful and respect our ancestors, understood that they could not do as much as they would want to do, but we have the opportunity to do so much more than we ever could and ever imagine. And the only thing that stops us is our mind. Yes? We can do the whole world if we want to. It is just about our mind. Look at the beautiful ornate work on this, division here. All of this, the roof of this, which has now been beautifully restored. Look at all of that. Yes. So as Bob would say, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds. Have no fear for atomic energy, because none of them can stop the time. How long shall they kill our prophets while we stand aside and look? Yes, some say it's just a part of it. We've got to fulfill the books. Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? They're all I've ever heard. Redemption song. And believe it or not, the entire Docile crew is quiet. Nobody is talking this morning. Good morning. And this lovely lady I know is part of the Flower Guild, getting ready to beautify the church. Yes. Go ahead, ma'am. We're just enjoying the beauty of St. Michael and all angels this morning. Yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Celebrating African Awareness
Week. Yes, we are in African Awareness Month. So, oh my gosh, I just got chills because I just sang Emancipation song in here. So, we're in African Awareness Month, yes. And so, hence why the pillars are all done in kente cloths.
That's right.
Yes. Thank you. You see why you thank your ancestors? Because look how that lady, and I just felt moved to sing that Emancipation song by Bob Marley. And here we are in African Awareness Month. I forgot about that. There is so much to share with you guys on mornings you will not know. And so, their pillars are all in kente cloths. Yes. And just from here, if you could just look back and see that view of these stained glass windows. So, makes me think of singing, one love, one heart, let's get together and feel all right. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel all right. Let's get together and feel all right. Whoa. Keep turning back, Mary. Shift your bags, because that's EMC love. And we see where he is, and he's so quiet, taking pictures. Nicholas Dean enjoying himself. So. Huh?
He's quiet as a church mouse.
I know he's quiet as a church mouse. Imagine that, everybody. He really is. I think he's just totally taken in by everything. And so, yeah, somebody says, Cheryl, move that bag. Yeah, we want to see her thing. But look, everybody. Look, 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 look. Come closer. Come closer. We're all together. In the beautiful St. Michael and All Angels Church. It has been a joy this morning to bring this all to you, because I am sure that I am past my hour with ease. I am sure of it. Nobody is time checking me this morning, but I am sure that we all are, and they are making fun. But we have had a glorious, glorious morning in here, sharing all this with you. I thought that I wanted to take you as well to Queen's Park, but we'll do that another morning. It was just that, I'll change this so we can see Nick as well. I just wanted to make sure that we cover St. Michael's Cathedral. This was not something I wanted to walk through fast. I wanted you to be able to see it and savor it. So, usually we give you a lovely beach view, but I think today, in reverence of this beautiful location, to all those who have walked through these hollow walls and made contributions, to our ancestors who stayed in Amen Alley and just said amen, to African Awareness Month, to just the spirit of being alive and being grateful. Please, everybody, get up, get out of your boxes, try things, do things, share things, and may God's blessings, love, and continuous good health be bestowed upon all of you. I will give you another couple of minutes of this beautiful scenery inside the church, and I wish you guys all the love today and always. And yes, everybody, okay, apologies. One more thing, yes, tomorrow, Nick and Jeanette and the team will be at Oceans Bay Gardens for Super Bowl. So if you can make it up there and meet others. If not, if you're here in Barbados, please continue to enjoy the beautiful scenery and all that we have to offer. Please link up with us. We would love to see you in person, love to hug you, love to just meet you and give you EMC love in person. And if you can do that, wonderful. If not, we will see you on Monday morning, and have a beautiful, blessed weekend.
And before we go, I'd like to thank Nicole for this amazing, touching, and overwhelming historic tour. I don't know if you all have felt it, but sensation in here is unbelievable. So thanks very much.
No problem, Nick. As I keep telling him, we are all EMC, and when I do these walks, I take a lot of time to make sure that when it's finished, we have all enjoyed it. So I pray that you have enjoyed this. Much love. I know I keep saying I'd be quiet, but I too am overwhelmed with the beauty and the serenity in here this morning. So, bye everybody. See you later.